Hey guys, Hatssuit coming at you today and Watcher of Realms. Welcome to the video, guys. How are you all doing? I'm doing great. Send some positive vibes, some love your way today, especially if you need it out there. Oh man, I have my son half the time, right? So I have a 50-50 custody, but it's great when I have him. But boy, it can be tough when I don't. And this is one of my nights where I don't. So what am I doing? I'm sitting here and playing Watcher of Realms, right? Because you distract yourself. That's what you do sometimes when you need it. Just going through a little bit of lonely phase. I guess we all go through that from time to time, right? At the end of the day. Anyway, guys, today I want to talk about my do or dies in Watcher of Realms. These are the heroes that I use the most. Don't judge too harshly. I'll make some notations as we go through on these builds. I was mentioning this earlier. I hit this point maybe a couple weeks ago where I was finally able to actually make some pretty good progress. You hit this plateau in the game, I found, right? And let me know if your experience mirrors mine, right? But you hit an area where you're stuck on a level, and then all of a sudden you pull a new hero, or you make the threshold leap from stage 12 to stage 13, and you can get your hands on a lot better gear, and then the game just opens up for you, and you can take this massive leap in progress. For me, I pulled a couple good heroes, some of which we'll talk about in today's video. I'm going to show you my ride or dies and why I love these heroes so much, and I would love your recommendations too. If you see a hero that maybe I have that I'm sleeping on that I do not mention, I would love to hear it. Now, obviously, I could shout out almost all of the heroes that I use. They're all pretty. I feel like the beautiful thing about this game is you can get so much out of even some of the more underutilized heroes. I'm going to share my top 10. The best of the best in terms of the ones that I use the most. So let's just start with Hatssuit, right? Hatssuit, she is probably my favorite hero. I can't recall a hero making them as big of a difference on my account as Hatssuit. I don't have, there's A1 on all of these heroes, guys. I don't have any of my OP legendaries awakened right now yet, hopefully. But she's a game changer. She can open up so much content. It's crazy, right? So why do I love her so much? Just raw damage and a lot of it, right? She has a crazy ultimate dealing 230 AoE damage to more enemies. Obviously, you can get damage increases and book this out. You can see I only have one skill short, but it's just invisibility duration. But each kill increases attack by 5%, stacking up to 5 times, lasting for 10 seconds. So she's just this snowball powerhouse of damage, and I love her. She's a marksman, by the way. Here's the gear that I have on her. Again, crit captor and just trying to min-max my attack as much as possible. So you can see total stats here, 10k on the attack, and she gets the job done. Let me tell you, I basically use her pretty much everywhere. Like pretty much everywhere. She's that good. Next up is Hex, right? We don't have to go far here. Hex is one of my more recent pulls on the account, and let me tell you, he surpassed my expectations big time. I didn't know what to expect with the way that his skills work here, right? He has, he's drawing cards, each of which do something different. He has temperance, he has death, he has strength, but there's some RNG there. It's a randomly to obtain those cards. So I wasn't sure how it would all play out, and there's no doubt about it. He can have these giant just rushes of damage that it just can be a game changer in the match. But overall, he is consistently one of my top DPS, and DPS in this game is not everything. Of course, tanks are defenders, healers very important, support heroes very important as well, but it's a lot too. It's a lot, and he's just a game changer in that regard. I'm gonna talk about like the most OP, best of the best. Hex is another one who I basically use everywhere. I mean, he's that good. He's that good. Heck, I even use him at this point on my account, at least, I use him in Artifact Raid as my one tile hero, because DPS is that significant. I'll probably change to like a Dolores or a healer at some point. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this guy. One area that I need to improve on my account is my artifacts. They're not the best because I just, it's hard to pay attention to everything in this game. You guys have the same struggle or what? Let me know. Oh, it's Vienna. Now, I've talked a lot about Vierna. I was very happy when I pulled her for obvious reasons. You can see just piling up on attack, obviously crit rate as well, trying to get some crit damage. One area where you'll find that my builds right now are lackluster would be crit damage, okay? What I want to do in terms of my priorities for DPS builds on my account is eventually get them out of the crit rates on the bangles and start upgrading to crit damage. I'm just, you know, doing that methodically, one hero at a time. And it's a long process because I need good crit rate substats, obviously, to make sure that we're still crit capping crit rate at 100%. Either way, though, Vierna is absolutely incredible. Her ultimate, it's 700% AoE damage and instant kill shot, 25% or less HP, but the execution threshold, you can take it up to 35%. She's insane. She unlocked probably 6 levels of progression in Gear Raid 1. Unlike, I don't use her as much as I do Hex and Hatssuit. But that is not a knock on her. She's arguably the best AoE damage dealer inside the entire game, and I am so lucky to have her. She's amazing. Toror is going to be number 4. He is the tank of all tanks. The best thing about him is he might not be, I say tank of all tanks, but he might not be the tankiest tank in the game, but he's a legendary lord in Nightmare, and obviously that's an insanely good faction. Now, we already have Wrath, who's an epic lord Nightmare, but we also get the basic attack has 30% chance of inflicting an extra hit in addition in his kit. So it's a really, really good lord ability, lord skill, and this guy can deal damage too. So I'm kind of trying to thread the needle a little bit, and I'm building him for crit rate and survivability, which is kind of tough to do, but I get by just fine with these stats for where I am. The best thing about this guy is when he dies, he gets revived after his first death, restoring 70% HP, 80% rage. Can only be used one time per deployment. I can get more HP recovery all the way up to 100% and 100% rage when I finally book him up all the way. So this dude is an uber tank, can also deal damage. He's a jack of all trades. He's probably my most used melee ground unit in the game because I don't have any of the super OP fighters, maybe with the exception of, I want to give a massive shout out to Iona, who I use a ton, but you know, just a little bit less now because of course I pulled Comet and I pulled Vierna, right? But with all that said, I still use Iona in Gear Raid 1. I still use her, obviously, in Faction Trials, and I love her. But Comet just does a little bit more damage. I mean, he ought to. He's a legendary, and he's very good. He's a great AoE damage dealer. He applies Curse as well. Really, really solid champion. I had Fastidious yesterday or 2 days ago on the channel. You ever have like a guild mate or something, and they're like, dude, you have that hero? Like, you have the best hero in the game. You know, he talked him up like so much to me that I'm like, dude, I need to go in there and start putting better gear on this guy. So I'm in that process right now, but you can see he falls a little bit short stat wise compared to some of my other nukers that I was talking about earlier. I'm just trying to get more out of this dude right now. But yeah, man, he is just, yeah, he's insane. Really, really good AoE DPS. He's a monster. The last legendary on the list is going to be Abomination. He was the first legendary that I pulled, so will always have a very soft spot in my heart. Moreover, he is the highest base HP inside the entire game, I want to say. And so he's tanky and he can deal damage, right? He's a fighter, obviously, but he's a tanky fighter. He's really probably one of the more closest thing to a fighter who's a defender, right? Only downside is the blocking, but still, he can hold his own, which is amazing. And he can deal damage, which, you know, I love the dude, right? I don't have him fully promoted, but I'm 1 mythic extract short.
In terms of money, we have no money.
Probably get that later on tonight, I'd say. Just a really, really solid fighter. Great for DPS. I do need to, again, if I had to be critical of my stats, I want to get crit rate up there more, okay? So, yeah, love me some Abomination. Next up is Wrath, guys. You know he had to be on the list. I've only done guides now for 2 heroes in the entire game, and one of them is Wrath. The other one we'll talk about in just a moment here. Wrath is so good, and I finally got him to A5, so now he can self-sustain. When Heavy Blow is triggered, the hero restores HP equal to 30% of the total damage dealt. He's got the built-in lifesteal. That makes him a fighter who can also self-sustain and deal, well, just a hell of a lot of damage, man. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You have him. If you're watching this video, you've been playing more than, you know, what is it, 14 days? Yeah, I mean, for all of you new players out there, your priority is going to be investing in Wrath. Don't hold back. He's a monster of a hero in this game. He's one of the best epics, but he's also, as I mentioned earlier, he's a lord. He's an epic lord in Nightmare, which is, again, one of the more powerful factions, if not the, in the game. A lot of people will build Nightmare teams around this guy. So just a ton of damage. He's got that nice talent to increase his crit rate as well, which definitely comes in handy when building him. So I just love me some Wrath. I advise everybody eventually take him to 6 stars. You're going to use him in the early game. You're going to use him in the mid game, and heck, you're going to use him in the end game as well, guys. Really, really cool. Next is going to be Idril. Ooh. I love me some Idril, guys. She is a boss of all bosses. Listen, an epic who I use over, you know, some legendaries, as you can see here, right? I'm not going to have all these legendaries on the list. She is just great. She's got great range. She's got pretty solid stats. And of course, what we always talk about when we talk about Idril is she can hit the entire map. She can hit the entire map on her limitless shots. It is limitless. It seems like it lasts forever, which is amazing. And it's just so clutch. So many times she saved me by, you know, just killing that mob, that enemy right as they approach the portal. So I love Idril. She's the GOAT. All right, we have Dolores. I alluded to her earlier in one of the heroes that I've made a guide on. I was lucky and I pulled Dolores nice and early. Some people say that she's not that great in the early game, but she really excels in the end game. I don't know. Not that I have a problem with people saying that. I can see the point, but boy, she's great everywhere. First of all, she costs 5 to deploy, super cheap, and she's got inspiration, man. You just gotta like just stack her attack as high as possible. I mean, obviously I can go a lot higher, and I intend to here. But again, 5 cost. You put her out there. She's a healer, but she doesn't heal a ton, but she does grant inspiration. Increase attack proportionally to the caster's attack. While this effect is active, no, the blah, blah, blah. Dude, that's it. That's it. She increases everyone around her when she uses her ultimate 22 seconds on this bad boy. 22 seconds increases their attack based on her attack. It's a game changer. It can help you clear content that otherwise would be next to impossible in the end game unless you have your hands on her. So if you do, make sure that you invest eventually in this hero. I'd say the sooner the better. Very good. And then last, but actually, can I give an honorable, guys? This is crazy to say, but look at some of these great tanks. And this is nothing against Regulus, by the way, right? I have Regulus, I have Azor. People don't really love Azor that much. I have even Baron, you know. I have some really great tanks, and nothing against Baron at all. I think Baron's a beast, and he almost made my list. But Olog, dude, oh man, this guy, come on. He has to be on the list, guys. He has to be. He is a monster tank. He can out-tank, well, out-defend everybody. Everybody, including Toror in some areas, right? Really because of his cheese shield. And I don't care, man. I'll take advantage. I will use it. I don't care. You can call it cheesy. You can call it corny. I'm taking full advantage of the silver shield. Every 11 seconds creates a shield that can absorb damage equal to 85% of max HP. You can book it out, and he just, I mean, he's like shield cycle. Shield cycle, and this dude's a boss. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. That's exactly what you want, obviously, from your defenders in this game, right? So I have 5k defense, almost 60k HP. I do try to prioritize HP on my defenders over defense, although in a perfect world, I would have both. Obviously, a 3 block, 18 cost. Not bad. Love them. I do want to throw out a massive honorable mention. I was going to include her on my ride or die list. It's Venoma. And that's right. You'll notice there's no gear on her.
I need your clothes, your boots,
hero, but she's still my most used hero in the game, #1. So why am I giving her an honorable mention if she's my most used and not including her on the list? Because I don't play her. I just keep her on the bench. I keep her in my hand. And I mentioned this on my top 10 mage video, so it's probably redundant for some of you guys. And I think we even talked about it a bit in the Fastidious collab that I mentioned earlier. But man, oh man, I mean, she is a lord, by the way, legendary lord. Esoteric, so not the most popular faction, but you have that going for her too. Her abilities are nice, right? She gets 520% AoE damage, great AoE damage dealer, and inflicting hex, so she's great. But I only use her for one reason, and that is the Lord skill, this last line of it. And you don't even have to play her to take advantage of it. Increase allies' rage by 30% upon their first deployment. That's all allies, not just faction allies. That's all allies, and she doesn't need to be deployed to take advantage of that. So if you pull her, just put her in your teams and don't even use her, and everybody's gonna get 30% rage bonus on their first deployment. That is so valuable. I lied to you guys. I said it was 10. It's really 11 if you want to include my girl Venoma. But it's actually I have it written down and I miscounted. I gotta give it up to Mari, guys. You know how much I love Mari. I use her at level 50. She gets the job done. Just so great control from this champion. She has slow, right? But of course she has that beautiful freeze. She's so crucial to me in Gear Raid 1 specifically, where it can be difficult to slow those enemies down, you know, to keep them from breaking through and going to your portal. So I think that she's a day 3 free champion in this game, and I just love her. I love her. She doesn't deal damage, not much, but she does have beautiful control in her kit. So there we go, guys. That is going to be, and the debuffs too. That is going to be my most used ride or die heroes in the game. You let me know who you had. You know what? I didn't mention any healers. Shoot. I'm going through a healer transition on my account right now, guys. I use Ezreal, who I actually really like. People throw a lot of shade at this dude. I actually really like Ezreal. He has a heal that can hit anywhere on the map, right? He's a single target healer, so he gets a bad rap for that. But he has unlimited range, healing, you know, with any allies HP drops below 30%, right? It's a really good ability. So he's traditionally been my most used healer, but I'm actually swapping over to Vortex in a lot of areas. So I guess because of that, and sometimes I use them both, right? But I guess because of that, it's hard to pick which one I use more or whatever, because right now I'm in a transition period. I love Vortex's range. I love Vortex's ultimate with the shield. So I'm starting to phase out Ezreal in some areas and go more towards Vortex. You guys let me know what you would decide when it comes to healers. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.